Oh, and use YouTube and IRS as the hashtag.
YouTube and IRS is the hashtag. I already got
Yeah,
it
like
down.
below the video.
Okay. Hey. It is us. We are back. It is Thursday. Welcome to the Melanated Air Hour. I really got to get a horn. I don't know why I feel like we that, but just something that announces that we are in the room. Thank you so much for joining us on today. Our topic today is you want to censor me and take my money. We're doing a dual topic today. We're going to talk about censorship. We're also going to talk about what's going on with the IRS, the 1099 situation, if you get more than $600. So make sure you stay with us, stay tuned in, share, thumbs up, like. I don't do this by myself. I have these beautiful co-hosts with me. Miss Keisha at We Inspire Brand, Madam President at One Madam President, Faye Bishop at Miss Faye Bishop, and Teddy Ewing at The Real Teddy Talks. Please like, love, and support these women who are a part of the Melanated Air Hour. As you come into the room, say hello, say what's up, say where you're coming from, say if this is your first time or if you've tuned into us before. Let us know that you're in the room, you're in the building, and we are just going to literally jump right into this because we have a lot to talk about in this hour. So I'm going to pass it to Miss Faye Bishop to open us up and give some context and some background on the censorship that's happening. I could say YouTube, but I mean, it's been coming down the pipeline from Twitter and Facebook. So let's, Faye, go ahead and take us into the conversation for today.
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. And so YouTube announced yesterday on Wednesday its plans to remove thousands of videos and channels that advocate neo-Nazism, white supremacy, as well as videos that have anti-vaccination opposition kind of rhetoric, so to speak. So the prohibition will cover videos denying any violent events, things like mass shootings of some sort, police shootings, as well as any content that has to do with the vaccine. The thing about this is that it comes on the heels of them banning a lot of channels over the past 48 hours. Actually, I should say they've been banning channels over the past 5 months, 6 months. One of the big people that they did ban was Rand Paul over his video disputing mask benefits. They have been censoring doctors who have been coming in, basically giving their own experience and sharing their own knowledge about information concerning the vaccines. It's been insane. And it's like, despite a ban by these sites, it's setting, in my opinion, a new precedent concerning information, the control of information, and how information is received, which is very, very important for all of us to talk about on this platform, and even for you, the audience, because many of us we have some sort of social media account. We all have either a Facebook, a Twitter account, an Instagram account. Many of us are content creators on YouTube. So it does affect the virtual e-commerce world.
It affects the virtual e-commerce world in truth tellers.
Yes, exactly. And truth tellers, absolutely.
To tell our truth, to give our perspective, to say what's going on, to show our truth. A lot of things, in my opinion, that have come to light, I would say probably in the past 2 to 5 years, have come through people showing something on social media, whether that's police brutality, death, murder, brutalities, abuse, whatever the case might be. It comes by showing, sometimes by telling and by saying. So to then come through and say, hey, we don't want your opinion, or we don't like the context of what you're saying, or we don't agree with what you're saying. You're saying it's misinformation. We think we're talking about, we're going to call it the thing that cannot be mentioned. So if the person who's speaking is saying something that's not in agreement with mainstream, then that makes it not true. It makes it misinformation. But I believe everybody has a perspective. So it's true for me, or it could be true for me, even though nobody else agrees with it. So should my voice, my opinion, my truth be censored?
No,
No, no.
no.
That's the whole point of social media is you get the opportunity to have a platform and express your views, whether people like it or not. And I think people get caught up getting excited when someone they don't like is saying something they don't want to hear gets censored, but they're not looking at what do they say, the slippery slope. They're not looking further down the road when this person's entitled to his opinion because one day I want to have my opinion and I want to speak my truth on my social media platform without being censored. So once they start doing this and we all accept it by saying the thing that should not be mentioned, the jab, the thing, like whatever it is, we're calling it all these names because we know we are not permitted, we are not allowed, we are not authorized to say it, or it can mess with our livelihood, or it can get our channel shut down. And then we can't reach the people when we're trying to talk about something that's very serious and just as important. So we watch what we say on this case, and we watch what we say in the next case, and we keep doing that. And then eventually we don't even know what's our true opinion versus what we're allowed to convey.
Now, you literally just spoke what I think it's Junior Boyson said. He said that didn't make sense. Opinion and truth are two different things. Are they though? Are they really? Because I'm sorry, because my truth, if we're talking about the thing that cannot be mentioned specifically, right?
Hmm.
If we're specifically talking about the thing that cannot be mentioned, which is where we are seeing the most censorship that we've probably seen in a very long time, is the thing that cannot be mentioned. If my truth is that it can harm, and my truth base is and this is not my truth. I'm just throwing something out there, right? I have the thing that have not has not been mentioned. So I sometimes I like to say that so people know my perspective, and nobody has to disclose what if they have had the thing that has not been mentioned or not. But I have, and I have my reasons for doing it. Literally was apprehensive up to the day I did it. Got there, still calling people to make sure that I should do it. So it wasn't an easy choice and decision. But my point is, if somebody feels that it's not safe for them, they should not do it. They have their reasons. That is their truth. That is not their opinion. That is their truth. Now, I'm a researcher, and so I understand how research works. For every person that says this is right, there's another researcher that will come through and say it's not right. So there's always two sides to every coin. There's always two opinions to everything. There's always somebody that's going to say it's right. There's always going to be somebody that says it's wrong. And as human beings and individuals, we take a side. Does it mean that the other person is wrong or right? If it's your truth, then it's your truth. It's not always an opinion.
And I was just going to say, to add to that, who are we to say what is wrong or right for anyone? And that goes for the thing, that goes for, I know we're not talking about this right now, but it has something to do with it. Politics, it kills me when people argue like this side and this side. Well, this side works for one person and this side works for the other person. So you can't tell me what works for me. And like you said, Lene, my truth is my opinion. And I'm okay with that. But I also respect other people's truths and other people's opinions. And that's what these platforms are not doing. They're not allowing us to express our opinions and our truths. And they're not respecting, it goes further. They're not respecting the truth or the opinion of someone that doesn't go along with their agenda.
I think it shows us too how mainstream has probably been manipulating news all along. Like we've known this, right? We've known mainstream manipulates news, but we're really getting to see it because before you had major networks and they controlled the narrative, they controlled the news, they controlled what was delivered, what we saw, what we didn't see. And now in this world, in this age of social media that we live in, you have people that can get online and give a different narrative. They can give a different perspective. They can tell their opinion. They can tell the truth. They can bend the truth. They can tell their conspiracy theories. We know that sometimes a conspiracy theory might be truth that we just, that we don't want to admit to. But now we have people in the world that are creating a narrative that runs opposite of or against the mainstream's agenda and narrative. And now we're seeing the powers that be, Big Brother, whoever you want to call those powers, come in and say, no, we don't want your opinion. We don't want your truth. We don't want your ideas. We don't want your misinformation. We want it to be what we want it to be. This is the this is the agenda that we want to put out there. This is the only truth or story or angle that we need the world to know. And if you're going against that, we're going to put you down.
Well, in my opinion, I feel like we all should have seen this coming when they banned Trump. Now, regardless of whomever's personal feelings about him, and regardless of whether or not you thought that him being banned from social media was deserving, it was a sign that nobody's platform was safe. That was the giant red flag that nobody's platform, nobody's, opinion was going to be safe anymore, that you weren't safe anymore. And what's been interesting to me about this whole thing is how Silicon Valley and big tech, who have, in my opinion, played a major role in so much of the chaos that's going on right now, being, pushers of the sickness, as I call it, that is this culture, how they've just simply been allowed to become this unquestionable authority on the First Amendment. They are literally silencing normal discourse and pushing back and punishing even those who decide they want to fight back. And my thing is, where does that leave us, in terms of a nation? Because without honesty and objectivity, what direction are we going in? What direction do they want us to go in?
That's the question. Where will this end up? How will we be able to express ourselves in 6 months, a year, or 2 years? We're going, we want to raise our next generation, our kids, to be independent, free thinkers, not followers, but leaders. But as we step into this, people are doing things that go against what their true beliefs are, just so that they can fit in, just so they can keep their job, just so they can keep their livelihood, just so they don't stick out like a sore thumb and end up ostracized or rejected from something they may need. So if you have to do this continuously, then there'll be something else, and there'll be something else. And then what generation of people are we raising in that? How will we reach our exponential greatness if we're so held back and held down from being able to express ourselves?
May I just comment on L Boogie Speaks To show? So L Boogie, I believe, female, please correct me if I'm wrong. We are going to have to create our own platforms like YouTube. YouTube has a monopoly, so they can censor us. And she said so on and so forth. And I agree with you. However, we do have people that have created platforms, right? But I don't think it's as successful as a YouTube or as a Facebook, only because people like to hang out where they're familiar. So it's not that they don't want to support Black-owned businesses. It's not that they don't want to support this platform. But in the masses, it's easy to go to YouTube because that's what you know. It's easy to go to Facebook and Instagram because that's what you know. And it's harder to get adjusted to something new. But I definitely agree with you. If we do create a platform, or when we do create a platform, and even platforms that exist by us, we have to support in the masses. We can't one by one, okay, yeah, I'm gonna do this. And I know I'm guilty too. Like, I have to support as well. But for me, it is easier to say, oh, let me just go on YouTube. Let me just go on Instagram, because that is what's familiar.
You go where the people are. I'm going to take a quick moment and reset the room. Hey, thank you guys so much for tuning in to the Melanated Air Hour. If this is your first time tuning in, let us know in the comments. Say this is your first time tuning in. If you've been here before, let us know that. If you're enjoying yourself, if you and you want to share this content, please give us a thumbs up, like us, share with your family and friends who you think can add value to this conversation, or who you think we can add value into their lives. Also, make sure that you go and follow all of the young ladies that are up here delivering content. You have Keisha, Madam President, Teddy Ewing, Ray Bishop. I'm Lene Javette, and we do this every Tuesday and Thursday. Melanated Air. We talk on the airwaves from the melanated perspective. Today, we're talking about you want to censor me and take my money, where a lot of the major platforms are censoring content. Whether it be truth tellers, people who don't want to get the thing that we're not allowed to say online anymore. And later we'll be talking about the ABC boys, as I like to call them, the IRS, and how they're going to be coming in and taking your money if you use certain apps over $600. But we'll get to that in a second. I wanted to come back and talk about this comment from Miss Gia Joplin. She says, how is social media regulated? How do we make sure these privately owned apps aren't using their rules to infringe on our freedoms of speech? Which is a great point. And anybody on the platform and or in the comments, correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember a while back when Facebook was sitting before the government, I believe, and they were talking about rules and regulations and what do you do and how do you do. In my opinion, I believe that, and this is completely one of those conspiracy theories right here, that these major social media apps have to be in alignment with or congruent with laws and regulations of mainstream in order to function. Like I think it was FacePoint, if they will, once Trump went rogue, they pulled his collar back and they shut him off. Like, we're talking about private, to your point, these are privately held organizations and businesses that are now saying, we don't want to hear what you're talking about. Good, bad, or indifferent. I don't want to hear what Trump has to say either, but good, bad, or indifferent. That's not my role or place to say. So good, bad, or indifferent. We don't like what you're saying. We don't like your rhetoric. This is a privately owned company, a privately owned app. And so we get to then say, these are all rules and regulations. If you don't meet those, you have to be removed from the app because we don't like what you're talking about. So to your question, they're private, but are they really private? Who's regulating them? We know who owns them, but whose rules are they following? Because this could technically be infringement or is infringement on our freedom of speech. What do you ladies think?
They're protecting the corporations. They are protecting the very corporations, in my opinion, that fund the CNNs and the MSNBCs and the Washington Post of the world. They're protecting their interests. They're not protecting ours. I mean, over the past 18 months, how much misinformation has all of the mainstream media outlets just openly said and openly plastered? The videos, the amount of videos that are all over the internet where it's just like incorrect information, just wrong information, and they haven't been removed. They haven't been removed, and they're going to stay there because they are all in this together. I know that that's been kind of like this saying that they've kind of told us to tell each other all, you know, the whole time during this pandemic, we're all in this together. Actually, we're not all in this together. There's them, and then there's us. So this is all about protecting the interest of the corporations. Many of them made upwards of 23%. Their wealth increased. Over $2 trillion in wealth was gained by many of the Jeff Bezos and Zuckerbergs of the world, during this whole pandemic. So we have to ask ourselves what needs to be done so that, and this is why I guess, and this is a different conversation, I'm sure we can have a different day, why I'm one of the biggest supporters of blockchain, because I believe that that's who's going to take them down. But that's another conversation. But I feel like we need to ask ourselves, why are they able to get away with this and we're not? Because they've been able to just get away with everything. I mean, during a pandemic, these guys were going into space. There are people dying and they're taking trips into space because for no other reason than the fact that they can. So even when it came to Donald Trump being censored, it wasn't, in my opinion, so much, well, he says this and he says that, let's just cut his mic. He's just bad orange man, right? One of the things that really worried me most, and I would say it's what really worried me most when he was censored is, what don't they want Trump to tell us? Not what will he say, what don't they want him to say? What is it they don't want him to know? Because
Uh-oh. Am I here?
I am here. Faye, are you there?
Here. Can you hear me?
You froze for a second. There you go. I think you're back.
Here? Can you see me? I do apologize.
Yeah.
I was like, they cut us off. They really don't want to.
See? They don't want to watch it. See?
We've been doing everything we can not to say it.
See, what don't they want us to say? What are they so afraid of us talking about? It was, they waited. This guy for 4 years was able to say whatever he wanted to say. In fact, many of the media corporations helped him get elected, which again is a different conversation. It was a 24/7 rotating feed of all Donald Trump all of the time. And then at the very end of his presidency, they cut his mic. And none of that, everybody was so busy pointing and laughing and feeling like they won, not realizing what they were about to lose or what it was that was lost. And I think that that's something worth examining. I think we all need to examine that.
I also think that I wrote a couple notes because I have a lot of different thoughts and a lot of different things that comes to mind. But this is old. America never stops being America. And I think the issue is, we have always done profit over people since the beginning of the existence of Black folks being on this here soil. It's always been profit over people. It hasn't changed. The theory, the objective has never changed. I think Dr. King, when he was being jailed in Birmingham, he told the bailiff or the guard at his bars, he said, if you could see that you and I are of the same. We're not, we so busy being against that we don't understand how we're all are collectively affected all the time. The fire is just expanding. At the time it was, I'm a Democrat, I'm a Republican. It don't matter. The fire is expanding on all of us. It don't matter what your political views are. We all are in this world. But I got to keep you thinking that it's about how much money you got and how much I don't have and how much better than you are than me. But we cutting all the mics off. We getting everybody what they don't want. And can't none of y'all do nothing about it because you all, the 99%, has funded the life of the 1%. And you've never rejected this theory. You thought slavery and Jim Crow was okay. Now I'm coming for you in 2020. The same views haven't changed. It's just resurfacing different all the time in America. I think Farrakhan says, I think Baldwin says, America cannot fool you. The white man cannot fool you. He said he ain't got a new song. He ain't got a new tune. So I believe everything is coming to us it seems so quick, but this is just 500 years in the making. This is just, now it's this. It's like, oh my God, now it's this. What happens next? And I'm not even, going so far to say that, when I think the sister Candace Owens, I'm not a supporter of Candace Owens. Don't think I go around listening to her. But guess what? I have the intellectual ability to hear people that I oppose, that I don't always think like. I have the intellect to hear people out. So because I have that intellect, I think she says, don't be surprised when the administration is knocking at your door. Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised. And the reason that this is happening, because we kept saying yes to a bunch of things that we should have been saying no to long and long ago. But because it wasn't affecting you personally, you decided to turn a blind eye. Now it's affecting everybody. Now everybody mad. So we continue to always act as if that it's not me, or that doesn't concern me. I think Maya Angelou said, I consider anything human alien to me. Anything that is human is effective to me. We all are affected. And I really feel passionate about this because we're reacting to something as if America gonna stop being America. This is the same country that owe us money. You know what I'm saying? We study not getting our money. America owe us money, owe us land, owe us everything. And we just constantly agree to it. We having award shows, we showing up, we buying cars. a house. We got it all.
Yep.
We showing up every way. Oh, okay. And we're constantly a part of this big issue. I'm just saying, I understand why people go and say, I tried it. I'm done with it. I gave it all up. We look at people and that's homeless and we say, oh my God, this man, he just, the structure of this system is so difficult on the mind and the soul that some people literally say, I ain't gonna even try no more. And it literally gets to that point. I'm not recommending it, but I'm just saying, like, we are all here because we kept saying yes. Our grandparents kept saying yes. Everybody kept saying yes to a bunch of shit that we should have ended when they were burning down our churches, when they were killing our 4 little girls. The shit should have stopped then. Here we are.
And here we are, being censored, and now about to have our money taken.
Okay.
Where does it
Make sense.
make it make sense? I can't freely speak. I can't say what I want to say. I can't voice my opinion. I can't use certain words that are in the dictionary that we have to talk about because all the words that go unmentioned are not for the pandemic. Like, we can't talk about the chickenpox. We can't talk about the measles. Like, there's other words that can't be mentioned that we should be able to talk about. Like, they're not all relative to the pandemic, but I digress. The other thing that's coming down the pipeline that some of you may or may not have heard of about, let me reset the room before we go on. First of all, yo, what up? What it do? Thank you for tuning into the Melanated Air Hour. Love the comments. Thank you for the engagement. Thank you for the shout out. We love that you love what we're doing. We appreciate it. This is the Melanated Air Hour. I am Lene Javette. This is Keisha at We Inspire Brand, Madam President, at One Madam President, Teddy Ewing at The Real Teddy Ewing, and Faye Bishop at Miss Faye Bishop. We are the Melanated Air Hour. For 1 hour a day on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we come and talk about things that are happening in the world, in life. And we talk about them from a Black perspective, usually around business, but just really around how to be better and do better as Black people. If we're saying something that you like, please go like us, follow us, share the content, give us the thumbs up, turn on your notifications, because this is where you can find us. Okay. And I see that Dual is here. A lot of us will be at the All Black National Convention that's happening next month. So if you will be at the All Black National Convention, you can find us there. Jewel, if you put it up, I will post it. I know you've been there. It is. Come hang out with us. There it is. Come hang out with us at the 6th Annual All Black National Convention, October 29th through November 1st, 2021. Get your hotel discount. There's the codes. You can either go to allblacknationalconvention.com or ABNC Hotel. You'll catch us there. First of all, let me say, I cannot wait to see y'all in person and hug you and be in the same place, in the same space as you guys. I am excited. Now, what we want to talk about now is, so we've kind of beat the whole censorship thing, like Madam President says, it's ongoing. It's not going to stop. How do we fix it? We know how we fix it. We have to get our own platform. Like, legit, we have to get our own platform, because as long as they own the airwaves, the media, corporations, the monies, the banks, the cars, we're going to be in the situation. So until we get our own, all of those things, we're in this situation. So not only are they wanting to censor us, but they're also wanting to come and take your money, your hard-earned money. Something just came down the pipes the other day that says the IRS will now track all bank transactions over $600. Okay. Now, Faye, I'm going to let you start this conversation again because you brought it. I have opinions. I didn't do all of the background research on it, and I've been seeing a lot of misinformation, but I know you have actually done the research to make sure that when we talk to y'all, we're giving you proper information, right? We don't want to be one of those sites or channels that come and give you misinformation. So since Faye is the one who has a nice bulk of this information, sometimes it's cool to just divert to the person who knows what they're talking about. Madam Faye, go ahead, take the page.
So actually, this was announced in the latter part of March. I don't want to say it was announced at the latter part of March. It was a part of the American Rescue Plan Act that was signed in by Joe Biden back in March. But I guess the media and everybody is just now picking up on it. What it is that effective next year, sellers on certain platforms, if you have any type of other income, such as rental income, if you sell on Amazon, if you sell on eBay, you will receive a 1099K if your sales are at least $600, which is down from the $20,000 threshold that it used to be. So it's either if your sales reach $600 or exceed it, or if you have a minimum of 200 transactions, which is very important because everybody keeps clinging to the $600 kind of threshold. If you have 200 transactions and every day somebody buys something for $6, you're still going to get a 1099K. I think that's very important to note, because there are so many details about this new law that impacts so many people. Now, it doesn't apply if you send a friend or a family member, about $70 via Cash App to help them out, because you want to get them on their feet or whatever. So you can breathe a sigh of relief there. But it does directly affect you. Again, if you are a small business owner, again, if you're someone who even collects rental income and things like that, and you collect those payments electronically, either by credit card, debit card, or a third-party payment vendor or network such as PayPal, SurePay, Zelle, and whatever, you will be 1099K'd. Again, this is a law that was enacted as a part of Joe Biden's American Rescue Plan Act. It was signed back in March. And I think it's important for us to note and to talk about, because these are the things that we miss during voting seasons. And I think that this was so easy to miss because a big part of the American Rescue Act that was so focused on were the stimulus checks. Everybody was so focused on the stimulus checks, the child tax credit, but nobody looked into anything else. They're coming back for your money. They're coming back for their money.
Can I say that no such thing as a free lunch? So when they gave all that money away and they gave all of the stimulus and they gave all the tax credit, they're taking it back from the exact people they just gave it to and wrapping it in a different package. So that's irritating to me, to say the least. And the second part is, I saw one of the comments, which is true, make sure you keep your Papa book. If you're sending money to grandma, whatever, then you're sending to a friend on the PayPal feature. However, there are certain protections granted to you on PayPal if you are buying a good or service from someone, and just say they don't uphold their part of the bargain, they back out of the deal, they only give you half of what it was. If you select the goods or services radio button, then PayPal can reimburse you for anything you may have lost or you've been frauded. So while you're trying to sell on Facebook Marketplace or eBay, or you have like a little side business or Etsy, now you're being challenged with, do I have to mark that button, or should I just say I'm delivering to a friend? Then you run the risk of holding that liability off to yourself. So it's deep, but there is no such thing as a free lunch. And anytime America gives you something to rescue you, they finna rescue you out of yourself again.
Man,
this was the lesser of two evils. I just want to point that out. Like, this was the lesser of two evils that everyone was talking about.
I'm going to remain tight-lipped on that because I can go into a whole situation with that, and some people may get mad at me and not want me back on this show no more. What I will say is I don't believe this law was enacted to hurt the average eBay seller. And I think that's why they made it a point to highlight, if you sell on eBay, if you sell on Etsy, if you sell on Amazon, although it impacts them and it does affect them, I don't think it was to really drive the average person who sells their t-shirt line on an eBay. I believe that this isn't a direct attack on the gig worker, your Uber drivers, your DoorDash delivery men, your Upwork contractors, and the other 1099ers, the 1099ers that we even discussed a couple weeks ago who are quitting their jobs. They've left working for the W-2 private sector companies to work for themselves or to work as contractors. And what has happened is that the IRS has never really focused on the gig economy before. So they are playing catch up, trying to figure out how to raise compliance. And that's where all of this is coming from. I believe wholeheartedly that the idea, what the government wants to do is come back and collect on all that dough that many people are either failing to report at all, in addition to all of the money that they gave out during these, stimulus packages. Unfortunately, everyone has to pay the piper, including those of us who didn't get a stimulus, including those of us who didn't go after a PPP loan because of the amount of money we make. And I think we should also note that if you have multiple sources of income or multiple businesses, even if it's not eBay, even if it's not Etsy, even if it's not Amazon, like I said, this affects people who collects rental income. This impacts you. If you operate a retail business, it impacts you. The good news, though, is that as a business owner, because I always have to look for the line in the sand. I have to always figure out where's the silver lining in all of this. The good news as a business owner is that you can subtract your expenses from the money that you earn. So I encourage everybody to please keep your receipts. Deduct inventory costs, supplies costs, operating costs, miles traveled. And of course, if those costs exceed your business income in that particular year, you can subtract the resulting loss of the income you report on your tax return. And I think that's important to note. And I had to say that because we often forget during tax season about the things that we can write off. And there's no time like now to learn about what it is you can.
All right. So Carrie Banks says, man, I should have got that small business grant. Let me tell you guys. So Black Enterprise posted 1 million businesses have applied for PPP loans forgiveness for more than $17 billion. So there's $17 billion probably out that they're trying to recoup. Yahoo News reports, while the stated goal of this vast data collection is to uncover tax dodging by the wealthy, this proposal is not remotely targeted to that purpose or that population. In addition to the significant privacy concerns, it would create tremendous liability for all affected parties by requiring the collection of financial information for nearly every American without proper explanation of how the IRS will store, protect, and use this enormous trove of personal financial information. And then to reiterate what Faye said, and just to kind of make sure that people understand who this affects, under current rules, individuals who sell goods or services via platforms like Uber, eBay, Etsy, and others that use third-party transaction networks, they generally only receive a tax form if they engage in at least 200 transactions with an aggregate of $20,000 or more. Going forward, there will be no minimum transaction level. And if you make $600 in a side business or a e-commerce type of a platform or a sale or anything outside of your corporate job per se, you will now be 1099. Okay. Anybody who has a side hustle, you will literally be affected by this. If you do hair on the side, you use a stripe machine. If you do offer up, if you have a little side offer up hustle and you sell your couch for $300, you sell some shoes for $100, and you sell your dining table for $300, that's over $600. You're gonna get 1099 on those sales. Like we'll make sure that you understand what this looks like. But like Faye said, it's hurtful to the average person who's technically not a business owner. If you are a business owner, you're deducting your expenses. You know what you're doing, right? You have a tax person, an accountant, a CPA. You're deducting expenses. This sucks, in my opinion. I gotta be careful. This is why you gotta be. This is why censorship sucks. You gotta be careful what you say, right? This sucks for the average person because if you're just trying to sell a couple pairs of shoes, or you're moving and you're selling some stuff in your house, or you just have some stuff lying around that you want to sell, you got to report that on your taxes. Like you got to get 1099 for selling dishes in the cabinet. That's crazy.
This is absolutely insane. America is always coming after regular folks. Meanwhile, you got folks visiting Mars with all the money, and they like, oh, I'm headed to Mars. I know you are. Meanwhile, we're gonna be stuck over here paying all the taxes. They're gonna be in Mars having Starbucks. And
They
over here
doing drive-bys now. They're
Exactly.
drive-bys, trying to see is it inhabitable.
I'm happy we're having this conversation though, because I see a lot of people on social media and they're for this, but I don't think they understand what this means. So they see
don't.
this and they're like, yeah, America is finally going after the 1%. And it's like, America's coming after you, boo. It ain't the 1%.
Hold on. Also,
Ask for
too,
nothing with a $600 cap and say it's for the 1%. That don't even make any sense.
I don't get it. I
At all.
don't get it.
also, can we talk about how I think about how many times in my family group text somebody like cash at me $50, cash at me $75, and we would just do this a whole year. Mom and them about to get taxed on the money that they borrow for gas for the year, money that they borrow for a little bit of extra for the year. And we really get into how people handle finances, how regular people handle finances. We're not talking about business-minded people. We're talking about everyday people who always need a little bit extra to make ends meet. Now you're going to come and give them a headache over that little bit extra? I just really feel like Biden administration, I just really feel like they are effing the American people real good.
Mhm.
I just feel like that.
And let me just say
about
this.
that says, go ahead, Faye.
No. Go ahead.
The sad part about this is the people it's really going to affect probably aren't paying attention. And what's going to happen is they're going to file their taxes at Check Advance or Quick Check or whatever and do their little 1040 easy form. And then months down the line, maybe a year or two down the line, the IRS is going to send you that notification saying you didn't claim X, Y, and Z on that 1099K, and they weren't paying no attention. They don't probably know what they're talking about. So when that bill comes due, they're going to owe what they originally owed, as well as any interest that's accrued on that. And then if they filed a 1040 easy, they're going to have to file something else, right? They're going to have to start deducting things. They have to itemize. Like, I know grown-ass people who have never itemized their taxes. So now you're throwing people who don't even know better into this bucket where the IRS is taxing and you're paying interest and they probably don't even know what's going on. So this is really going to be a nightmare for a lot of people.
It is there because, like you said, Teddy, they don't understand, and Keisha said it too. They don't understand what any of this means, and there's no time like the present to become financially literate. That's why financial literacy is paramount to everybody because of things like this. And even more so, I think it's also very important, and I have to stress this again, that during election seasons, it's very important to keep this kind of stuff in mind. I know that the media likes to play the mind game, particularly where it pertains to people of color, because they want us to focus on being black. Who likes black people most? Who wants to drink malt liquor on air? Who wants to go on make an appearance on Versus? Who wants to show that they can do the wobble and with Roland Martin and things like that? I know that they like to do that, but they do that to distract us. They do that to keep our eye off of the prize. And these are the kinds of things and the types of policies that we have to make sure we're looking into, because it does affect our personal interest.
It does. And the thing that I find just when we just, okay, as a person who doesn't have children, I remember when I first started working, and Black women, they say, due to research, articles say that Black women leave about $240,000 in the world when they die, right? So I imagine you just said you live a life at 80, 85 years old, you work about 40 plus, let's say 40 years of work, you working underpaid for about 40 years, not to mention all my good folks who got that Bitcoin money, y'all know them investments, so y'all know how much you miss out over 40 plus years of lack of knowledge and information, right? So like we have these people who constantly, and I feel like the world is responsible for this too, the regular folk. You know, I just really feel like I'm like at the end of the year, I'm like, what do they mean I need to give them more money? They ain't got all the money that I thought that they should have at this point. What's going on? So I'm always like, okay, am I being penalized because I don't have kids? Like, what is this about? You know? But no, that's not really the case. But like, I think somebody in the comments said, and Faye says, and Teddy says, and Keisha and Lene, you know, knowing this system is the best way to. I don't think you can beat this system because what white supremacy does, it says, I made the game, I'll change it on you. So I don't think it's even okay to try to think you can beat the system, but to stay afloat in the system, you know, I feel like we have to have the knowledge and information. We have to have access to accountable, intellectual Black CPAs, right, that do things right, don't cut corners. Because the thing about us in cutting corners is they're going to put you under the jail, you know, when you do it. Meanwhile, you know, they're going to go to Mars when they do it. But like, so it's imperative. We got to have this community where we have this resource to help us, you know, fix this big issue because it's a problem. And I just want to roll out really quickly. Like when you look at Lyft, you look at Lyft, you look at Uber Eats, and my friend says, I'm going to make some extra money. Ain't no way in hell I'm doing it. I said, I think the first step is go to that first job and ask them what your extra money at. That's the first step because you're about to run your whole body in the ground trying to keep up with America's stuff. Stop America while she's ahead, somebody. When y'all get ready, let me know. I'm ready for it.
So I want to say this because we literally just talked about censorship and we talked about misinformation. I want to say I am not, and I saw some place where they're not exactly sure how the Cash App piece will work in transferring money between family on PayPal. So there's some of those things that they still aren't sure about how they're going to work. I did find this on CNBC to kind of talk about a little bit of what we said. I'm going to go through it as fast as I can. If your sales are akin to having a garage sale, i.e. you unload belongings for less than what you originally paid, there typically is no reason to report what you pulled in. Essentially, there is no income to report. Of those who have sold pre-owned goods on eBay, for instance, 85% plucked items from their house, things they already owned and no longer used, according to a recent report from eBay. This type of taxation depends on the situation. Generally speaking, if you're selling to make a profit, for reasons that go beyond nurturing a hobby, you probably would be considered a business owner for tax purposes. For instance, if you regularly buy clothes at yard sales and sell them, whether online or not, with the intent of making a profit, that counts. We talked about the good news already if you're a business owner, subtracting your expenses. So, but if you've been running a side hustle, you got to go legit, basically.
That's
like,
it. That's what it is.
Legit. Like,
it does.
That's literally what it is. I'm not taking the IRS's side in this. I'm just making sure that we communicate this properly. What they are saying is if you are picking up side money through external channels and not putting it on your tax return, we want a piece of that, boo. That's what they're saying. We want a piece of that, boo. You got to legitimize that. And based on what I read, it doesn't sound like they're saying you got to go and start a business. They're just saying we're going to tax you like one. We want a piece of that. We want a piece of that piece you collected.
And nowadays, who doesn't have a side hustle? Like, can you really survive without a side hustle nowadays? Especially for me. Right, exactly. Like, especially for me. I live
through
in New York,
inflation, they know that.
Yeah, and that's exactly why they're doing that.
Mm-hmm. If they want to, they don't want to stop eating, but they want our money.
That's what it says. The quote says, a good share of folks on these platforms may not be reporting the income, and the IRS isn't getting that information either. So they want that information,
Yep,
and they want your income, and they want to censor you while they do it.
exactly.
And just be mindful of this also when you pick up a gig. Even if you're not selling old things, old furniture, old baby clothes, think of this when you just want to make some extra money, pay for a wedding, to cover the cost of some moving expenses. This, you're now going to be 1099K'd for it, whereas before you were not. And it's just something to keep in mind. And again, I have to stress, there is no time like the present to become financially literate.
You're
Especially
so
if
right,
you don't know
Faye.
what a
Like, you have
1099K
to get
is.
that.
Go ahead.
You have to get that financial freedom together. You have to go legit so that you know the rules, know the regulations, know how you can, I won't say buck the system, but know how you can work in the system. If you don't know the rules, then how can you break them, right? So you need to go legit so that you can do what you need to do to get your money back, to optimize your return, to lessen your taxes. And if you're skirting on the fringe, you're not going to be able to do it. So just dive in, figure out what we need to do, and then do the damn thing.
And with going legit, there's no time like the present to seek out help. Like if you're doing your own taxes, that might not work going forward. If you don't know what a 1099K is, talk to somebody that does. If you're not sure if you have to do a 1099K, talk to somebody. Like the ABC boys, they don't play, and you do not want them in your business. Hopefully, they're going to do more knowledge-based information, provide more details. I saw somebody over here that said that it's not clear. It's not clear, and that will get you in trouble if you don't know what you're supposed to do, what you're supposed to report. That could get you in trouble. Make sure you're opening your mail during the tax season so you can see if you got 1099, because sometimes they don't send these things out properly. I get 1099, or I 1099 certain clients, and I get 1099. And sometimes I'll calculate money based on something that I didn't receive the 1099 for, or I'll have to go back and say, hey, y'all didn't send me my stuff. Like, come on now, get with it. Like, you also have to be aware of your money situations, because even if they don't send it to you and they send it to the ABC boys and you don't put it on your taxes, they're going to come back and they're going to come looking for you. So just Black people, my community, those that we love, be careful, be safe, understand and know how these new rules and regulations and laws affect you going forward. I believe this says it rolls out 20. I saw the date on something earlier, but I don't see it right now. So wait,
It
this is
should be January
One January
2022.
22.
It says, yeah, so it starts in January 2022. This means that in early 2023, you will receive a 1099K for online sales you make in 2022. So starting in January, just be very cognitive and precise and on top of your sales, who you're selling to, where you're selling at, how much. If they're going to tax you like this, operate like a business. Start taking, and I'm not a tax attorney. Let me give them a little disclaimer, but if they're going to charge you like a business, you deduct expenses like a business. How much gas did you pay to get to where you were? Did you run an ad for that? Did you do it on your phone so you can deduct your phone bill against your business expenses to sell that item? Now, again, go see your tax people. I'm just, don't take my word for gold, but if they're going to treat you like a business, you treat them in the same and start deducting those expenses and make sure you don't give them all your monies.
And ask questions. I feel like I'm always hitting up my tax people like, hey, if I get this, can I write this off? Yeah, you can. Okay, great. Let me buy this now. So definitely ask questions and get people on your team that you trust, that is more knowledgeable than you, so that you do not run into these issues once 2023 comes. Like, you need people on your team. Don't think that you can do it alone. And I feel like we talk about this like every show. You need people on your team that is going to help you get to that next level.
Absolutely. Who has a comment? I just saw, okay, Cynthia. Cynthia says, what about those who are day traders and long-term investors? I will kind of rely on Teddy and Faye on this one, but my humble opinion would be, if you are day trading or a long-term investor, you should already be getting some type of 1099K and or doing some type of itemization on your taxes. That was
Yeah,
my.
that's 1099
You're definitely
miss,
gonna
right?
have to claim.
Miscellaneous.
Okay.
Yeah. You're gonna
That's
have
what
to
I
claim
thought.
those capital gains, whether it's short term or long term. If you're day trading, those are short term gains, and that's taxed at about 40%. So if you are not tracking that, you need to begin immediately.
And just like literally, there's various 1099s. So there's 1099K, 1099 Miss. I believe there's a 1099R. So there's various 1099s depending on how the income was received. So again, do your research, get you an accountant, talk to a CPA, talk to a tax professional. Don't go to your cousin JJ and say, "Hey, run my TurboTax." You know what I'm saying? Talk to somebody that knows taxes to make sure that you don't run into no problems with these IRS, or as I like to call them, the ABC boys. So, with that being said, we have literally come to the conclusion of our hour. I'm going to go around the room so that everybody can have their final thought. I left that up too long. I'm going to go around the room so that everybody can have their final thought before we close out. But before I do that, please make sure you go and like and support and follow all of the women that you see up here. I am Lene DeVette. That's also my handle. Keisha at We Inspire Brands, Madam President at One Madam President with a Z. Teddy Ewing at The Real Teddy Talks, Faye Bishop at Miss Faye Bishop. Ladies, I'm going to go around the room and let you guys each make a comment before I close us out. We'll start with Keisha.
What's up? What's up? So I just want to mention Libby Lou in the comments. She said people will still find a way to avoid taxes legally, ask Trump. And I just want to say, don't hate the player, learn the game. Because if I could find a way to do this and you could find a way to do it, let's do it. Let's make it happen. As Madam President said earlier, America has always been profiting off of you. So now let's learn the game. And I also want to leave you with, be a free thinker. And there were mentions earlier about how we can listen to someone that we don't agree with their views, right? I think Madam President said it. We don't agree with their views, but that doesn't mean that we can't listen to them. That doesn't mean that they won't make points that we do agree with. So be a free thinker. And a free thinker doesn't mean go along with what a certain party says all the time. You're not going to agree with everyone all the time.
Oh, Madam President, I know you had your hand up a minute ago. My apologies. You're on mute, boo.
I'm so sorry. I'm over here. I was just probably agreeing with Keisha. I wasn't trying to get any specific attention. I just want to say it's been a great time, and it don't matter if you got your stuff in order or not. Them folks coming for everybody here in America. And if you could go to Mars, have a good time, you know. But if you're gonna have to be here like me, we might as well get it together. I'm Madam President with the Z. The internet is where you can find me. Okay, follow me online, and I am the owner of the Freedom Company. Check us out on Instagram, _freedom_company. Y'all have a good day.
Boom and boom. All right. Okay.
I just want to say that whether or not it's the censorship of your voice online, the censorship of information and how it's received, and the IRS coming for your bag, it's both of these things represent giant red flags. The bells are going off on the alarms that the powerful, nefarious actors are planning something for you. So you have to play the game of chess to stay a step ahead of them and make your move and plan ahead. Always. I've always made it a point in my life to plan. You know, that question that people tend to ask you, where do you see yourself 3 to 5 years from now? You need to plan your life out that way because you never know what's going to happen. So definitely do that. And when it comes to platforms and sharing your voice, it's very important to own your domain name. Even if you get that www.me.com and just let it sit there and park on GoDaddy.com until you figure out what to do with it, it is still real estate property, virtual real estate property that belongs to you, where you can put your information and have your own voice to say what it is you need to say or get information out there the way you need to get out there and to increase your visibility and your presence. Without it, you're just basically a slave to their platform. All of us are. I always stress to people, Instagram does not belong to you. I don't know why y'all post pictures on there the way y'all do, all freely, willy-nilly, because once you do it, those pictures no longer belong to you. They own them and they can do whatever it is that they want with them. It's the same thing with your tweets. It's the same thing with your Facebook posts. It's the same thing with your Snapchat videos and so on and so forth. So keep that in mind when you use the platforms. And the same thing where it comes to the IRS. Always become more financially literate. Study tax law so that you can do what Donald Trump do. Some people are poor on paper, but they're actually rich. They're rich enough to take trips to Mars, as Madam President said. And if you can make it up there with them to have some Ciroc liquor like P. Diddy or somebody, then have at it. But definitely know that when they do things like this, it's because they're planning something for you. So always plan ahead.
Thank you. Miss Teddy?
Hey everyone, I am Teddy Ewing at the Real Teddy Talks. I'm almost ending my vacation in the Maldives. So if I cut out on you or the wind was blowing, I don't apologize, okay? So I'm living my best life. But Faye said it best, this is chess, not checkers, all right? We can't be mad at the censorship, but we can react. Everybody can stop using the platform. That would be the best and the most quick and efficient way to nip this in the bud. And everybody's going to do that. But that's really how we can make it happen, because we hold the power. The masses hold the power, not the organizations. We have it. If we say hell no, and everyone collectively does it, the majority, then they're going to have to change what they do. So never forget, you hold the power. You need to own your email list. You need to own your customers, own your website, as was just said, so that you can continue to prosper in spite of all the things that we're using that we don't own. The YouTube, the Twitter, the Instagram. So we may use their platform, but don't let those platforms use you. And as far as the ABC boys, y'all just got to get in line. You got to spend time. I know throughout the years, I pull up the tax regs just specific to my cases, and I learn a lot. So take it, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Take it a little bite at a time so you feel smarter, more knowledgeable. You get yourself an accountant, get yourself a CPA that you can trust. And like Keisha said, ask them questions. And eventually in a couple years, you'll know a lot more than you knew before, so that you can maximize tax law to minimize your tax liability.
Thank you, Teddy. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in and showing up for us today for the Melanated Era Hour. Today, we talked about you want to censor me and take my money. The thing that I would tell you guys to do for the censorship situation is get with like-minded people. I will use Farrakhan, for example. His message has not stopped, right? They've taken him off of Facebook. They've taken him off of Twitter. Like, they have tried to ban this man all across earth, and his message does not stop. So get with people who are speaking that talk that you like and walking that walk that you like, and follow them. Get in their email, get in their infrastructure, get on their list. Like, get with people who think like you. It doesn't have to be on social media. You don't have to be on social media to be connected to the truth that you agree with or the truth that you believe, right? But if you are, then make sure you go follow us on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. If you are going to be a part of this world that we live in, make sure you go follow everybody up here, because we do individually talk about these things. I talk about business development. Keisha talks about creating a business around your t-shirts. Madam President's going to talk about being free. Teddy's going to talk about your exit strategy. Faye's going to bring you that mompreneur and casting. Like, there are people that are talking the talk and walking the walk that you want to be aligned with. So don't be scared by censorship. Get with people who talk the language that you want to talk, right? So that's how you kind of deal with the censorship. And then the other thing is the IRS piece. Again, I love you guys. I love my community. I love Black people. We just have to make sure that we understand the rules of the game, right? They are playing chess, not checkers. So you can't show up to a gunfight with a knife, right? We want to know how to operate in the system. If you want to not pay your taxes like Trump, don't hate the player, hate the game. or learn how to play the game, right? So that's all I'm saying. That's all we're saying. The melanated air is all about providing context, a perspective, opinions, right? These are our opinions. We're not saying we right or wrong, but this is what we think. You have the ability to come up with your own thoughts and ideations and opinions as well. As a Black community, we are not monolithic. We all have different ideas and objectives and goals, and that's what makes the melanated air so wonderful and beautiful. Is we all have our own individual takes on these things. So we love you. We thank you. We appreciate you for tuning in. We expect to see you next week. We do this every Tuesday and Thursday live at 2:00 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you check your notifications. And like I said, follow us individually. We love you. Be blessed. We'll see you next week. Peace.